Awesome. Okay, great. I think the live stream is on. Okay. All right. Welcome, 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 everyone, to week 2 of our Rising Women Leaders program. It's so great to see all. We're officially going to kick off at 6 o'clock, but this is just a very, very warm welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Good to see all our participants. Nice and early. Thank you all so much for your diligence. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Let me know in the chat box how your week has been so far. Great, nice. How was your week been so far? We're on Wednesday. Okay, that's fine. Yes. How your week has been so far, how your weekend was. Please share it in the chat box together with our program facilitators. How was your week? How was your weekend? We hope it has been good. Good. Symphony said her weekend was great. Awesome. Priscilla said her week is weekend. Amazing, productive. That's good. That's all positive stuff we would love to hear. Thank you all so much once again for making it nice and early. Thank you. Thank you. So, we're officially going to kick start our session for today. And today we actually have our first instructor here. I am so excited. We have been elated, preparing eagerly for today. As I mentioned earlier, this sessions that we are going to have is going to be very intimate. Should we have opened the floodgates and shared the link with everyone, we would have had hundreds of people here, due to the caliber of guests that we have today. But because we really wanted it to be a session curated for each and every single one of you to get the opportunity to ask your questions, to interact with our instructor, we decided to make it very intimate with only the participants. So please don't share the link to anyone. We beg you. Let's just keep it within here and keep it intimate. So, like I mentioned, this is actually streaming on YouTube. So, right after, if you want to watch it again, you're more than welcome to go back and watch. Okay, 6 on the dot. Let's get started. So, today, like I mentioned, it's going to be a very insightful session. We have a very important personality in our midst that I do not want you guys to take for granted at all. Literally grab your pens, grab your notepad, anything that can help you take notes and keep record of what we're going to discuss today. Please, please, please do well to take note of that as well. Yes, thank you very much for reminding me of that, Priscilla. So before we commence, I'm just going to play an intro video and then we're going to welcome our guest. Please, is my screen visible? I need some head nods. Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. Wonderful. Okay. Before we play the video, housekeeping rules. Please kindly mute if you're not speaking. We want and we need a lot of reactions in the chat box. If once our guest speaker is interacting with us, if you have any questions, please place them in the chat box and we will address it at the end of this discussion. Today is just going to be a podcast instructor style. So, although it's going to be a discussion, you're going to be getting a lot of nuggets. Ensure that, as we've mentioned time and time again, as part of the mandatory aspect of our 10 weeks, please ensure that your cameras are on throughout the session. Obviously, if you need to step away for a few seconds, feel free to do so and come back and just ensure that your camera is on out of respect for the program and for our guests as well. And lastly, please ensure that you have your name evidently displayed so that when we're taking attendance, we acknowledge that you're present. Okay. Wonderful. Does the skin keep going back? Okay, so today we have the amazing and the incredible Reverend Dr. Frank Ofosu Appiah. And like I mentioned, we're going to play a video just to give you a brief understanding of what his bio is. Please let me know if you can hear the sound. You cannot hear the sound.
Oh.
Okay. I figured. No worries. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I'm going to share my screen again. And I'll just need a thumbs up to let me know if the sound works. Okay. In the meantime, to show excitement, please, how excited are you for today? Just drop it in the chat box as I open the bio. I want to see a lot of hearts, lots of love, lot of fans. Okay, wonderful. All right, I see my screen bombarding with hearts. So I'm going to share my screen again. Please let me know. I cannot see anyone, so I will need someone to unmute and let me know if they can hear the sound.
No, we can't hear it. You might have to
Okay.
share the Zoom and then add select
Okay.
the audio
Not a
version.
problem at all. Let me do that. Let me know. I think it will work. I cannot see anyone, so I will need someone to unmute. So we're ready. 3, 2, 1.
In a world where so many are searching for purpose and direction, purposeful leadership has never been more important.
You might have to share
Reverend
the Zoom
Dr.
and
Frank
then add,
Ofosu Appiah
select
is an
the
internationally
Not a
recognized
problem.
life coach and leadership architect, author, and man of God.
It will work.
He is the general
All right.
overseer of Living
So we're
Springs
ready.
International
3,
and
2,
senior
1.
pastor of All Nations Church in Atlanta, Georgia. Through his mentorship, leadership seminars, and writing on purpose, wisdom, and personal growth, he has equipped countless individuals to embrace their calling and reach their fullest potential. His leadership is rooted in a powerful conviction. When people understand who they are and why they were created, they can lead with greater clarity, courage, and impact. Leadership seminars. It is a true honor to welcome him to our Rising Women Leaders Masterclass today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Reverend Dr. Frank Ofosu Appiah. When people understand who they are and why they were created. In a world where so
So I'm
many are
hearing that there is an echo, there is a repetition, whatnot, but I'm sure that we were able to follow what it said. With the thundering round of applause, help me welcome the amazing and the incredible Reverend Dr. Frank Ofosu Appiah. Let me see where Doctor is so that I can pull him up on the screen. Awesome. I see him here. Okay. Awesome. Yes. Hi, Reverend. Good evening.
Good evening to you, Mommy. Good evening to you.
Oh, I love your background.
Yes, I did
You
that just
came
for you.
already. Oh my goodness. I feel like borrowing your background and put it in mine.
You can have it any day. You can have it.
I will. Thank you so much for making time to be here. We are so elated to have you. As you know, I have been chasing you for a very long time. And I'm
Yeah.
finally glad that it's happening today. Thank you.
Yes. Timing is everything. I believe in timing. So we thank God for that. Yes.
Absolutely. How are you feeling?
Tired. The world is led by tired people, so it's good.
Amazing. So today we're going to be having a very exciting conversation on building the foundation of a leader that lasts. And who better to have this conversation with than you? You have a very long and lengthy yet very strong profile on leadership. You've taught a lot of people in the government, in the church, in different spaces about leadership. And I think as you well aware, leadership is very sustainable. And just for the betterment of us, when did you know that you were called into leadership?
I cannot. Thank you, Mommy, and thank you, everybody who came on the Zoom line. I watched everybody, and I felt like uh, a lion in the den of Daniels. It's like, oh Lord. I cannot pinpoint a particular time or an epiphany, something that I had, but I look over my shoulders and I realize that I've had some bit of leadership in me almost all my life. Because we live life forward, but we understand life backwards. And thinking about my life, I realized that from a very young age, I've had influence on peers, on siblings, and everything. So it's been an ongoing thing. So I consider that this was a part of the gift mix that was given to me.
What was the first leadership role that you occupied, if you can remember?
Um, formal and informally. Well, formally in school, I think for most of the classes that I was in, I happened to be a class prefect, or those
Mm,
things that
mm-hmm,
they give to you.
mm-hmm,
And then informally to everywhere, like my siblings, friends, peers, I kind of stood out amongst them
mm.
and led them to do bad things and some good things too.
I'm sure it's the good things that has led us here.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
That's incredible. So journeying on, you've seen that, let's say, in your academics, in the academic space, you had leadership roles. Being in the family setting, you had leadership roles as well. But when was your first big form of leadership role that you occupied? Was it in school or was it in the church setting, or where did you find that?
I think it's both ways. I think it's
Okay.
both ways. I occupied leadership roles, like I said, in school,
Mm-hmm.
high school, middle, whatever. I always found myself in leadership roles, school prefect, this, that, that, even in Bible school, school prefect.
Mm,
So I've had that role. What people saw in me, I don't know, but
mm.
that is how I found it. But coming to where I am right now in my role as a pastor of a church and leader of so many organizations, I also found myself leading the church, leading pastors, leading bishops, business leaders, and that kind of stuff. So it's been ongoing. It's been ongoing.
That's amazing. So now getting to the conversation of building the foundation of a leader that lasts. What when I did a little bit of research, doctor, I noticed that there are some factors that contributes to leaders not lasting. And if I can share, some of it is burnout, lack of organizational support, emotional strain, isolation at the top, to mention but a few. What contributes to the building of a foundation of a leader that truly lasts?
I'm going to take a little bit of time when I do the other part with you,
Absolutely.
but there could be several factors, and one, if I should isolate one, I would say lack of adequate preparation,
Ooh.
lack of adequate preparation. And the assumption that I can wing it as I go along. I can become better as I go along. And sometimes you're going to discover that it's not always like that. Let me tell you a story. I like to tell stories if you don't mind.
No, love it.
Um, some years ago, quite some few years ago, I visited a cousin of mine in the great nation of Nigeria, in one of the states, and right across from where my cousin lived was something that really, really stuck with me. I mean, and it's going to stick with me for the rest of my life.
Mm,
During those days, Nigeria had come into a lot of oil money. So people were making money, people were doing all kinds of things. And right across from that house, I saw something that really assaulted my visual sensibilities, never to be forgotten. Here was a building that had been built initially with, the African thing that they built with mud, touch mud and those kind of things, bricks, and they've done it. And the guy had decided to put another story on it.
mm,
And the next story was made of proper cement blocks. So you can imagine having the, the ground floor, the first floor as
mhm.
mud,
Yeah.
and the building has turned at a very interesting angle. And I stood there just watching and watching and watching. So I asked my cousin, what happened to this? He said, well, the man was initially poor. He built this poor house, but he came into some money and wanted to have a story building. So rather than raising everything down and digging up the foundation and doing something, he decided to put the next one on top. And that is what we saw. And that stuck with me that this could be the story of many people.
Mm.
Our foundations are not strong enough to sustain where we are going to. So that is one of the biggest lessons about foundations that I've learned, that if your foundation is suspect, it doesn't matter how beautiful an edifice you put on it, you're always going to have trouble at the end.
Wow. So there might be people that are here that are saying that I've had 5, 7 years of experience, and truthfully, my foundation is still weak. Does that mean that we pull everything down and start afresh? Or how do we maneuver around it when we know that we started with a weak foundation?
You talked about maybe somebody saying, I've had 7 years of experience. Could it be that you had only 1 year of experience and you repeated it 7 years? That could be. And I've seen it happen so many ways that we talk about longevity, but it could be that we are repeating the same things and think that the years are compounding to make us better. But we're going around in circles, because where you are going to looks like where you are coming from, you are going around in circles. And so the best thing to do is to rethink, look at it again and determine, do I redig the foundations, which I normally would tell people to do that, or do I keep going? And when I face opposition, when I face winds and contrary things, it's going to find me out. Humility must push us to admit that I got this thing wrong. And I've got to redig everything and start all over again. For me, that is wisdom.
Amazing. I go into our first key question for today. What do you think that a lot of successful leaders built early that made a difference?
Again, a good foundation, a very good foundation. And normally when you're digging foundations, you may not truly enjoy it because there's a lot of obscurity. Nobody sees a foundation, as it were. Once it's done and it's covered, nobody cares about foundation. Nobody admires foundation. Nobody takes photographs of foundations. But I believe that people who have become successful, they built on very solid foundations.
Daddy, when you say foundation, because when you're building a house, there's brick, there's mortar,
Yes.
So what constitutes the foundation itself? What are the elements?
Discipline. Because discipline has nothing or very little to do with your emotions. It's a decision that you make. The ability to say no to yourself, the ability to not eat your dinner at breakfast, that is delayed gratification, the ability to know what you're going for and put your head down and go for it, the blood, the sweat, the tears, sometimes the mockery and the misunderstanding. You go through all those things, knowing that you're building something that will show forth in the future. So these are some of the things that you put in the front. Sometimes it's pain, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Sometimes it's pain. When it comes to leadership, when it comes to building a strong life or business, whatever it is, it comes with a measure of pain. And there's nothing that you build that will go bigger than the threshold of your pain. How much pain are you willing to take? The sleepless nights, the mockery, the misunderstanding, the failures that become the manuscript for a better tomorrow. So these are some of the things that constitute your foundation. And interestingly, you may not even know that these are the building blocks for your foundation as you do them.
That's amazing. I think there's an important aspect you made, which is the mockery aspect.
Yeah.
Normally, when people get mocked at for taking a leadership role or doing something that seems odd, they immediately decide that, okay, I'm giving up, because it's like nobody is in alignment with that. Have you ever had an instance where you were mocked during your leadership journey?
Mommy, how much time do you have?
We're here for you today.
I'm sure some of my sisters, I can see some of them smiling. I mean, everybody's mind is kind of raising about, we get mocked. I mean, let me give you an example. I operate within a certain space, which is predominant. That's why I'm called Pastor Frank. So church thing. And normally in situations like this, I try to be as generic as possible. But let me give you this. I got saved. I went to church. I started going to church. And I started growing like any Christian is expected to. And one day my pastor asked me to lead prayer before we start the evening service. And so we got to the church. The doors were locked, waiting for somebody to come open it. And then one of my friends asked, "Hey, who is leading prayer tonight?" And everywhere went silent. And, I was kind of nervous to say I am the one. And he said, "Who is leading prayer?" So I started stuttering, like, me. And he looked at me and said, "You?" And this guy laughed and laughed and laughed. He doubled over in laughter. And as I said right now, I can still hear it like it happened a minute ago. He mocked. It killed something on the inside of me, but there's another side of me that said, no, prove him wrong.
Mm.
So I did it faithfully, not to prove a point or to make a point. Fast forward, I happened to be the one who inaugurated his church for him in the United Kingdom. I happened to be the one who dedicated his 3 children in the United Kingdom. I happened to be the one who sent him on missions to Canada, Vancouver Island, some years back. So he mocked. Today we talk about it, we laugh. But I overcame that with proving him wrong. So long as human beings have a heart and a mouth, they might use it to mock you, especially when they don't understand you. But don't let it stop you. Don't let it stop you. You are bigger than mockery.
How did you not allow the pain of that mockery to be a hindrance? Because mockery is painful. And
It
as
is
leaders,
painful.
when you are building a foundation, you endure pain. I know you said you were going to elaborate on that further. But when you go through certain aspects of pain in leadership, how do you navigate that? Because a lot of leaders are wounded.
Yeah. Yeah. Most leaders are wounded.
Yes.
Most leaders are wounded. Yeah.
How?
Again,
Yes.
it comes down. Sorry about that. You can go
No,
ahead.
please. No, please continue.
Again, it comes down to a decision. It comes down to a decision. Are you going to let them stop you? Or are you going to go forward? There comes a time in your life that you've got to understand and accept the fact that anytime you are mocked, anytime you go through pain, you have options to fight or to flee, to be better or to be better. The choice is yours. Vision makes pain bearable. So when you have vision, you can be able to bear the pain and the mockery. That is what drove me on.
In light of stories, was there ever a time where you went through a painful experience that made you almost want to give up on leading your church?
Yeah, several times, every day. I'm being truthful.
I love it. You're being real.
I want to be vulnerable. You know, sometimes people see people like us, you know, and they think we just dropped from Mars. They see all the bells and whistles, but I like to show my humanity to people.
Love
you
it.
know, I tell people, and again, please forgive me if I veer a little bit into this area. You know, I've lived in this space for a generation and more,
Yeah.
but someone like Jesus, you know, he is Jesus, he is whatever, and he got nail prints in a sense. And when he rose from the dead, he came back and showed it to his disciples. He was not ashamed to show his scars. And sometimes people like us, you know, we try to sanitize our story. No, that's why I wrote this book. And I'll send a copy, The Making of the Ambassador of Hope. This is my biography. And I tell it all. I mean, whatever needs to be told, I've told it. My biographer drew a lot out of me, you know, and I said, I want you to put everything out there for somebody like Mami and my rising leaders, you know, to understand that this journey is not always pretty. This journey is not always nicey with bow ties and gift wraps and things. And many times, several times in my leadership journey, I've come to those times and places where I've said to myself, what's the point? I can, but some way, somehow, I narrow my options and I say to myself, what's the alternative that is better than this? So I go on, I keep on, because the call of God on people like us is irrevocable. So where do I go? I've seen the face of betrayal. I've seen the face of misunderstanding, where your best intents and your best actions and everything totally misrepresented. I've seen days that your best sacrifices seem like nothing to people. It happens to everybody. And I'm sure everybody online, in one way or the other, wherever you are, you face things like that. Again, the decision. I'll put one foot in front of the other, and that is called walking, and I'll walk.
Love it. How did you get the name Ambassador of Hope?
Oh boy, Ambassador of Hope. You know, I grew up in a culture that didn't really affirm people, and you know what I mean. I grew up in a culture that sometimes your best efforts and intents were never enough.
Mm.
I found it incredulous that you go to school in some particular cultures. For example, they ask you, what color is this mug? And you say, well, it's white. Let's say it's white, and it's white. And then the teacher decides to give you 7/10 for answering something right. And you're asking, why not 10/10? Did you have to go by the marks for that?
Yeah.
And I'm saying that to say that I realized that as I began to pastor and amongst people and listening to people, I realized that there was too much judgment. There was too much putting people down. And I felt that this world has a lot of pain by itself. Who is going to be a voice that will soothe people? Who is going to be a broker in hope? Much as I know that hope is not a strategy, hope is fuel that will let somebody who is at the point of giving up begin to move forward. So I don't know who gave me that name, Ambassador of Hope, but before I knew, that was what they called me, the Ambassador of Hope. And I think I love it, and I copyrighted it, which means you have the right to copy.
We love it too. Before I give you the platform, and I feel as if you have a lot to give us on building the foundation that lasts. I'm going to ask one last question and just
Please
give you
do.
the platform to teach us. I was watching a sermon of you 13 years ago.
Oh, Lord, that's long ago.
And you made a statement that stuck with me. And the title of the sermon was Descending into Greatness.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And normally, I found the title intriguing because we are told to ascend into greatness, not descend. And you made mention of service as a main key catapult in order for us to ascend into greatness. We need to descend by serving. As a leader that wants to build a strong foundation that lasts, how does service and serving humanity play a key role?
Everything. Service is like the end game of everything. Because for me, what is the purpose of leadership? Leadership is to serve. And the one that I followed, the one who called me, modeled it for us. And he said that he did not come to be served, but he came to serve and to lay down his life as a ransom for many. You know, people talk about church politics. And I tell people that any church that there's no politics in is not a good church. But because there must be politics everywhere, because people jockey for position, people do everything. But it's how you handle it. That is how I see things. I look at things from different perspectives, and things that will make people lose sleep are things that will let me sleep nicely.
Wow.
One day, a woman just comes to the office to see the boss. And he says, boss, you know, I really have an important thing to talk to you about. And the boss says, well, let's talk. What you say, you know, two of your associates, two of your VPs are my children, James and John. Their dad is Zebedee, you know. And I just want one request. Don't refuse it. And the boss says, tell me. Said, in your kingdom, can you make my firstborn sit on your right hand and my secondborn sit on your left hand? You know the story I'm talking about Jesus. Jesus didn't rebuke her, but all he said is that it's not mine to do that. But I want to tell you something. If you want to be great, that is not the way to go about it. If you want to be great, serve. If you want to be great, get on your knees and wash the feet of people you know will betray you in a few hours. If you want to be great, they slap you, turn another cheek. If you want to be great, do what nobody else wants to do. If you want to be great, serve when there are no lights. If you want to be great, it doesn't matter whether your face is shown on the flyer or not. If you want to serve, because heaven honors service, you serve your way. That is why I preach those series on descending into greatness.
I love it. I love it. At this moment, I'm going to remove myself and then give the platform to you. Please teach us. Right on here, we have a plethora of people of participants, different religions, diverse races. No, we're all Black, but diverse tribes and so on that are on this call. And we just want to hear from you on how to build a foundation of a leader that lasts. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you again, Mami. And thank you, everybody, rising leaders. Thank you for the opportunity you gave me to spend these few minutes with you. I don't consider it lightly at all, because there are 1,000 people that you could have called to do that for you tonight. And to sit here to have this time with you is a privilege. I don't know who you are going to become, but I believe that you're going to be great people. I don't know where we're going to meet, but I sit here with a lot of trepidation, if you like, in my heart, that my words may take somebody to heights that maybe no woman has achieved yet. I don't know the kind of research Mommy did about me, but I can confidently say that I'm one of the most vociferous advocates for women, because I've seen too many things done against women that breaks my heart, and sometimes our male-dominated society. And you agree with me that any society that does not respect women tend to be a backward society. All that being said, architecture of leadership, building the foundation of a leader who lasts. And I have a few slides that I'm going to put there, and maybe later we'll send them, go them to send them to you, or you can screenshot them. But historically, women have found themselves downtrodden, ignored, sometimes considered a nuisance when it comes to the issue of leadership. But you and I cannot overlook the fact that women in leadership have made great and indelible impact on society. Many courageous women have risen beyond societal norms, barriers, opposition, limitations, to make their world, and for that matter, this world, your world and my world, a better place. Women who have been in leadership have reminded us that leadership is not determined by gender, color, position, privilege, like I put in there. Women are there. But by vision, by their conviction, by their courage, and their willingness to act in the face of sometimes great opposition. The achievement of women historically should not and must not be ignored. And I'm going to talk quickly about some 5 women that came into my mind as I sat down to think about what to present and what to talk about. And I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me. When the French were fighting the English on the so-called 100 Years' War, the nation of France was in a quandary. And the army was dejected, disconsolate, discouraged. Into that space stepped a 19-year-old peasant girl, poor girl, Joan of Arc. She believed that God had spoken to her, and through that she spoke words of encouragement, words of power, and turned around the army of France to stand and fight for the soul of that nation. Today, she is celebrated as a heroine of France. That could be the story of somebody else. When the United States but is sweltering under the jackboots of racial segregation and injustice, where human beings made of God but with a different color were asked to sit at the back of buses, a little woman who had no physical presence, as it were, no money, no connection, no prestige, no power, no privilege, Rosa Parks, decided to defy the injustice that was raging and refused to leave her seat and go to the back. That little act got her arrested, but it poured fuel on the civil rights movement led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who stood up against racial segregation and injustice. From Albania was a slight, little woman, applied to become a missionary but was refused. But Mother Teresa determined that she had to be. With little finances and something, she left Europe and went to India. to the poor, to the slums of the poorest of the poor, to care for people marginalized by society, many times through no fault of theirs. I'm talking about women who made a mark. I lived in the United Kingdom for many years. And in those days, for the longest that I lived here, the one who led the nation longest was the Iron Lady Margaret Thatcher. The United Kingdom was in the doldrums, economically, fiscally. All kinds of things were happening. But Margaret Thatcher was voted to become the first female prime minister. She demonstrated the power of courage, conviction, determination, and strong leadership. No doubt she is the Iron Lady. Not too long ago, we saw on our television screen, social media everywhere, how the Taliban of Afghanistan and Pakistan rolled over nations and taken over, and how they subjugated women, abused women, pillaged women. And a young girl, a teenager, Malala Yousafzai, determined that, no, I'm not going to take this. We must go to school. We must learn, because we are all creatures created by God. Despite threats, intimidation, several assassination attempts, this young girl would not be silenced. In 2014, she became the youngest person ever to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. All over the world today, which I'm sure you know better than I do, there are several women who are leading nations. And you know, one surprising fun fact, during COVID-19, nations that were led by women did far better in leading their nations through this epidemic or pandemic, I beg your pardon, than anybody else. Write that down as official, because the men won't tell you the truth. The women did amazing. Women spearhead powerful conglomerates, lead in positions of power and privilege. And I realized that at every given year or whatever seasons, something happens, maybe iPhone, whatever happens, and Android does another thing, then somebody asks, so what's next? We're asking, what's next? What's next? And we ask, what's next? But my question to you, rising ladies, it's not what's next, but who is next? Who is the next Maggie Thatcher? Who is the next Malala? Who is the next Mother Teresa? Who is the next Miss Ardern? Who is the next? Could it be possible that on this Zoom call with me today is the next big thing that is ready to happen to the world? The topic before us, building the foundation of a leader who lasts. In the late 90s, I went to do my graduate studies in Fuller Seminary, the master's degree in leadership. And something happened that really, really burned its imprint in my mind. Professor Bobby Clinton was one of the foremost leadership teachers ever, professors ever. He did a comparative study of leaders in the Bible. And in their studies, they found out that the Bible had about 1,000 leaders. Not all of them had prominent mention. Some one-liners, some, and those who had prominent mention were about 300 of them. And hold your horses. They found out that of the 300, only 30% of leaders in the Bible finished well. And then they said that the same happens in contemporary society or historical society, that very few people finish well. I made it my purpose, not just for myself, but for people that I may have the privilege of serving, to avoid being part of those who never finished well. And I realized that one of the key components that will help you to finish well is to have a good foundation. So building leaders who last starts with a good foundation. I told you the story of what I saw in Nigeria, in Ondo State, about that building that had been put upon, you may be thinking, what happened to the building? Your guess is as good as mine. So we are talking about leaders, rising leaders, leadership. And you don't need a PhD to agree with me that this world desperately needs leaders. I'm talking about leaders, not dictators, not bullies, but I'm talking about leaders. There's so much political chaos everywhere. Outright confusion, economic meltdowns, insecurity. Today, whoever thought that a day will come that our children will have to go to school and walk through metal detectors? Whoever thought that nations that have been cordial for centuries suddenly will be at loggerheads just because somebody pleases to have that? And the cry, if you can listen, all over the world is, who will show up and lead? Who will fix this mess? And I believe you, rising leader, listening to me, you are the answer to that problem. You are the one who will scratch where the world is itching. I'm talking about leaders who are as big as the occasion. Women who will not fear, who will not cower at challenges, but dare to make great changes. You are that woman. I know you've learned all of these things, so I'm not going to get into all the technicalities and things, but maybe we need to pause and ask ourselves, what is a leader? Because the word leadership has been thrown about all over the place, leader, 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 but sometimes people can be bullies and we call them leaders. So what is a leader? This is a complex one. And one thought will not do adequate justice to it. There are several definitions. I'm sure some of the master classes that you've done, the presenters have gone. So I'm not going to get into all of that, but I will settle for just one that Dr. John Maxwell gave. That leadership is influence. This is what he said, and I'll put it out there on your screen. Dr. Maxwell said, to be effective, a leader must have influence. But that influence is a product of, I beg your pardon, George Barner, quoting Maxwell. He said that to be effective, a leader must have influence. But influence is a product of great leadership. It is not synonymous with it. You can have influence in a person's life without leading him everywhere. So this is brilliant. So let's settle on this. Leadership is the influence of others in a productive, vision-driven direction, done through the example, conviction, and character of the leader. That is leadership. Leadership is important in our world today because leadership drives people to an end. Bad leaders drive people to wrong ends. And good leaders, which I know you are one, drive people towards a better end. Leadership affects people's outlook. And again, I'll put the slide out there for you. Leadership affects people's outlook because you are setting an agenda for people. You show people how to see their circumstances and their possibilities and themselves. That is what true leadership does. True leadership sees diamond in the rough. True leadership sees a challenge and makes it an opportunity. True leadership can look at a brick wall and see a door in that. That is people's outlook. It also affects people's outcomes. Because as a leader, you are going to help people to get to a preferred end. Whether people achieve or they fail to achieve will depend on how you give them leadership and also their direction, where people are headed, and whether it's somewhere worth going or not. So looking at all this, we can agree that as a leader, you can be gifted, you can be talented, you can be intelligent, you can be visible, you can be accomplished. But remember, we are talking about leaders that last. You can have all the plethora of things. But what determines longevity are not your gifts, your talents, your ability, but the strength of the foundation beneath that public platform that you stand on. Remember, I told you only 30% of leaders finish well. Let me tell you the end that I want from you even before I continue. That I want every one of you, my prayer and my desire is that every one of you will finish. And not only will you finish, but you will finish well. And not only will you finish well, but you will be well when you finish. That is my end that I've given to you before I continue. I have a question for you. What holds you up after the applause is gone? Because when you are building an edifice, nobody sees the foundation. Nobody generally remembers what has been put in the foundation. It's only time and the elements that will determine how strong or otherwise that it is. So whatever we see above the ground is only as strong as what is beneath it. So, rising lady, your gift, your talent may open a door for you. Your intelligence may create opportunities for you. Your personality may attract a lot of people. But only a strong foundation can sustain the weight of leadership over time. That is what some of us discovered and made sure that in the obscurity of our digging, in the obscurity of nobody knowing us, in the obscurity of nobody even knowing our middle name, we will dig a deep foundation so that our leadership will last the test of time. So my desire is not just about how you as a woman will rise, but also how you build in such a way that when you rise, at the end of the day, you remain standing. So I'm going to lead us in the next 15, 20 minutes to look at 7 foundations of a woman whose leadership lasts. 7 foundations. And the first foundation is identity before title. I'm going to run through this, then we're going to take them one after the other. Your identity, which is very important. Your competence, confidence, boundaries, emotional strength, your character, and stewardship. These are 7 things. Identity, competence, confidence, boundaries, emotional strength, character, and finally, stewardship. These are the 7 things we're going to run through very quickly. So the first is identity, and I've titled it Identity Before the Title. And this is my key thought, and you find it on your slide. You will not live in the palace if you continually see yourself as a beggar. I'm talking about identity. If you continually see yourself as a beggar, the palace is not yours. No king, no queen, no prince, no princess, no potentate wakes up any morning in a palace and thinks themselves as beggars because they are self-aware. And I know women, you are amazing. God's amazing creatures. You carry many roles at once. You are a leader, mother, wife, daughter, caregiver, entrepreneur, professional, ministry, friend. But if your identity is rooted only in your title or your role, then when criticism comes to visit, it can feel like rejection. And sometimes even transition can feel like a personal loss. One of my mentors in leadership, General Colin Powell, said that don't ever tie your ego with any job, because once the job goes down, you're going to go down. I paraphrase it by saying, don't ever tie your worth to any title, because titles are given and titles are taken away. Roles are given and roles are taken away. What are you going to do? So as a rising woman, a leader who lasts, you must know who you are before people tell you what they need you to be. You must have personal awareness, your identity. So the question I'm going to leave hanging over your head is, who are you? Have you ever met yourself lately? I'm not talking about what you do. I'm not talking about what you accomplish, but who are you? Have you discovered yourself? Have you introduced yourself to yourself? Who are you? You must be settled in your identity. Other than that, sadly, you can become a fraud who must live up to a certain expectation of people. And you and I agree that it can be quite tedious. Don't allow circumstances and people to define who you are. And by the way, you are not your experiences. Neither are you your mistakes. You are not what you've been through. You are somebody uniquely created by God. You can go as far back as into the annals of human history. You will never discover another you. Nobody has your fingerprint. Nobody has your retina scan. Nobody has your biometrics. We are 1 in 8 point something billion. That is how powerful you are. So be settled in your identity and who you are, because that is what gives you value. Don't live for people's affirmation. Because I tell people that there are too many people who are suffering from affirmation addiction. And my question is, if the people who affirm you and clap for you are not there, what are you going to do? I beg your pardon. You are going to settle into depression. So get rid of toxic thoughts about yourself. I put it out there on your screen. Settle on who you are. Because your value isn't in a vote. Your worth doesn't depend on people's opinions. In fact, listen, opinions are like armpits. Everybody has two, and people have opinions about you. Be yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. Comparison is the death of happiness, and I'll repeat it. Comparison is the death of happiness, because somebody is always going to be prettier than you. Somebody is always going to be more accomplished than you in something, but you are one of a kind. Do that. Leave your footprints in the sands of time. So number one, be settled in your identity. Be settled in who you are. You were made unique. Number two, I said competence. And in competence, I'm saying that you must have competence without constantly trying to prove yourself to people. Many women that I have met enter into leadership spaces feeling the pressure to prove that they deserve to be there. Yes, I agree. Excellence matters. I am a stickler for excellence. Preparation matters. I believe in that. Competence, yes, we'll talk about that. But being exhausted from trying to prove yourself is not an evidence of who you are and your worth. So I would counsel you, I will admonish you, my sister, develop your craft, hone your skills, know your work, prepare diligently, even when there's no opportunity yet. Communicate clearly and let your consistent results speak. You don't have to destroy yourself proving that you belong in a room. You've already developed the capacity to enter. Don't permit anybody to dream your dreams for you. They will dream too small. Be competent in what you do. Competence is having superior technique, and the future belongs to those who are competent in what they do. The truth is, very few people have trained themselves long enough to discover how excellent and competent they can truly be. And I want to believe that power of love rising women. You have come to that place where you know that you are competent, or you can be competent without trying to prove yourself to anybody. Your results will speak. The third foundational pillar is confidence. Confidence without becoming someone else. Confidence is not a personality type. It is not about being the loudest in the room or the shiniest or the tallest or whatever. Because when I look over the panorama of people who lead, especially women, people have their various ways that they go about their duties. Many women lead quietly, and yet they are very powerful. Some are bold out there, very powerful. Some live strategically, powerful. Some through their gift of being relational, their relational intelligence puts them in the room. So leadership does not require imitation. Just be confident, because confidence grows when a rising woman becomes secure enough to bring your full, prepared, authentic self into the room. So your role, my sister, is not to imitate anybody, but to align with your purpose every day. Be confident. Because once you have competence, it's easy to be confident with what you do. Then the fourth thing I want to talk about, boundaries. They are part of leadership, boundaries. You realize that every river or a body of water, whatever that flows, they have banks. I call them boundaries. What are they for? To stop the rivers from overflowing their banks to cause havoc to life and limb and property and everything. That is what boundaries do in our lives. I've never seen a man or a woman leader who has stood the test of time who did not have boundaries that they stick to. You cannot be haphazard, my sister. I know women, you are natural nurturers, you are helpers. And with that, I've seen that sometimes you tend to easily overextend yourself. But as a leader, please hear me and hear me well. You cannot give unlimited access to your time, your energy, your emotions, your attention, and expect to remain effective forever. Boundaries are hard to set, but they are easy to set, but hard to maintain. Stick with them. Set them and avoid violating them. Learn to say no without feeling guilty. And when they press you, ask them, which part of no don't you understand? You know something that I tell people that, before you turn 45, you normally get along in life by saying yes. Oh, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll go here. Yes. But after 45, you get along by saying no. But I have a better one. After you go past my age, I don't care. You get to that place where truly, and for me, there are a lot of things I don't care. I've seen a little bit of this life. Delegate when you must. Rest when you must. Rest is not a waste of time. It's a temporary change of occupation. Because sometimes if you don't rest, you may be late to rest. When you take a rest, when you are a human being, you are not a human doing. Rest if you must. And by the way, if you rest before you are tired, you are lazy. But have times that you rest. It's a leadership discipline. It is a steward of the time that God has given to you. You don't have 25 hours a day. So stick with it. Have boundaries. Discipline is not weakness. Delegation is not weakness. It's strength, knowing that I can enter into rest and allow somebody else to do what must be done. So, rising women, part of your foundation that to make you last in your leadership is that you must have boundaries. I've done studies on people that failed because they couldn't stick to their boundaries. Do that, they will guard you. When you are driving a vehicle in a terrain that is a lot of curves and ditches and things, when you are driving, you realize that for every 1 mile of road, there are guardrails. There are guardrails left and right so that you don't veer off and fall into a ditch. So I tell people that for every 1 mile of road, there are 2 miles of guardrails. Have more boundaries in your life, because the higher you go, the more you tend to be distracted. Truth is that too many leaders live distracted lives. No focus, because they have not learned boundaries. Learn to say no without feeling guilty. It may be hard initially, but it will free you some time and yourself. Number 5, emotional strength. Oh, what a foundation that is. Emotional strength without pretending. Because again, like I said, women, you juggle a whole lot of responsibilities, family responsibilities, finances, ministry, your own personal disappointment, your private fears, you go through all that. But today, I had a call from one of the guys in our church, he had lost his brother. And we were talking, and he said to me, Pastor, please remember me in your prayers. I really feel weak, but I think I have to be strong. And I stopped him short and I said to him, brother, with what has happened to you in the last 1 year and the losses, you cannot be strong and pretend you are strong. Because sometimes some cultures posit the fact that showing emotions means you are weak. No, you are not weak. It takes a real woman. It takes a real man to show emotions. And I told him that the greatest and the most quintessential human being who ever walked on this earth was Jesus. And yet when he stood at the grave of his friend Lazarus, it is recorded that he wept. And weeping is not just one tear just dropping on his cheek. He wept in agony. So I want to admonish you that mature leadership requires that you must be able to process what affects you without controlling how you lead. Find healthy spaces to process, to recover, to pray, to think, to receive support. Because every strong woman, you need somewhere that you don't have to be strong, that you just have to be yourself. I talked a little bit to Mami about pain. That leadership in any capacity comes with a measurable amount of pain. Pain of being misunderstood. Pain of unfair criticism. Pain of delay. Pain of opposition. Pain of people turning their backs on you. It comes in every shape and size and form. Somebody said, if you can't stand the heat, don't go into the kitchen. In the same way, if you are allergic to pain, then maybe leadership is not yours. I'm sure by now you've discovered that. People will give you pain. And sometimes the very mouth that you have fed will turn around to be the very mouth with the teeth that bite your hand. Are you going to punish the good people of your today for the bad people of your yesterday? You can't do that. Find people to talk to. Find trusted ears to speak to. Find shoulders that you can lean on. Find brains that you can pick. Find mouths that can soothe your pain. Because the truth of the matter is that the higher you go, the hotter it becomes. Many years ago, I had a cousin of mine visit me. I was in London. Wasn't as matured now, so I wore my heart on my sleeve, cried a lot. I'd been through a few things, and we sat praying through midnight, and he looked at me in the eye and said to me, brother, if you are going to lead, then you've got to rise beyond this, because pain in leadership never goes away. So that day, I learned something, and I'm going to give it to you for free. Learn to love the things you can't change. And pain is one. Make pain your friend. Why? Because you will not let it be your undertaker, but your uptaker. You are not going to let your pain become like a mausoleum where you bury your dreams away. You are not letting it go to be like a museum where people come and see your pain on display, but make it a manuscript where people can come and read and look at you and learn that if she has been through all this and she's still taken, my God, I have no excuse. I can keep going on. Then the penultimate one is character, your character. That is when nobody is watching. Because truth of the matter is that leadership will eventually reveal your private life. So please, as you lead, as you build your foundation, there are some non-negotiables that I will present to you. Integrity. That is who you are. Integrity is not perfection. Integrity doesn't mean you don't make a mistake, but integrity means even when you make a mistake, you own up. You do right by people. Humility. Accountability. Every leader must be accountable. I tell people that when you're following a leader, you must know who that leader is accountable to. For there are 3 levels of accountability. For the lack of a better word, your superiors. Those are the ones that you are accountable to. Then your peers, those you are accountable with. Those who keep your feet on the ground. Those who tell you the truth. Those who love you enough not to let you do the things you are doing that would destroy you. They will not allow you to press the self-destruct button. You need people like that. You are accountable with them. Then, of course, people that you are accountable for, people that you give leadership to. These are things that you've got to understand. Power does not create character. It reveals what is already there. You know, sometimes people come to me as a pastor, oh, pastor, you know, so-and-so, ever since they got money, they become proud. And I tell people, money does not make anybody proud. Money only reveals what poverty silenced. In the same way, power reveals what is already there. Your gift may bring you to the platform, but it's your character that will determine how long you remain. So question, who are you when there's no audience? What would you do if you knew absolutely that you will never be found out? That is character. When you take care of your character will take care of your calendar. Character. And then finally, stewardship. Learning to steward everything that God has given into your trust. Leadership is bigger than promotion because in this life, everything comes with a responsibility. That is stewardship. Leadership is not simply how a woman rises, but it's about what you do with what has been entrusted to you. Influence, people, resources, knowledge, opportunity, platforms, they all come with responsibility. A great leader once said, to whom much is given, much is required. So, rising leader, see promotion as increased stewardship, not increased importance. The Japanese have a proverb that says that the rice that bears the biggest grain bows the lowest. It's an intentionality of the heart. So there are a few reflection moments that I want to leave you, that you may ask yourself questions. They are right there. You can screenshot, but ask yourself, have a staff meeting with yourself. What part of my foundation needs strengthening before my next level? Because you don't want to get a promotion before you prepare. To try to prepare before you are promoted is like putting on the seat belt after your car has crashed. Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones, one of the great and finest minds who stand behind the pulpit in the United Kingdom, said, one of the worst things that can ever happen to a young leader is to be successful before you are prepared. So look at your foundation today. What needs strengthening? Your relationships, character, discipline. The call is yours. What do I need to become to carry what I'm asking God for next? Because you know something, nobody operates very well beyond their personal capacity. I have this mug in my hands right now. It can take 16 point something ounces of water. 16 point something ounces of water. That is the capacity of this mug. If I took a gallon of water and I begin to pour into this mug, all the mug can contain is 16.5 ounces. Anything beyond that I continue pouring becomes a waste. And that is what happens. It is not that you cannot be promoted. It is not that you cannot get to the heights. But the issue is, have you built the capacity to be able to handle that? ask yourself, what do I need for continual improvement? Because what brought you here may not be what bring you to the next level. Yesterday's information may be obsolete today. What new concepts do I need to learn? Because all you know, rising lady, is not all there is to know. Where you are, rising lady, is not all there is to be. There are greater things ahead of you. You are the next big thing that the world is waiting for. You are the next prime minister. You are the next president. You are the next CEO. You are the next something. It's on the inside of you. It keeps you awake. It drives you. What is it about me that I need to eliminate? Because you and I know that you eat, and you don't eliminate waste. You get constipated, and it poisons. The same thing that is supposed to give you life poisons you. So there are some things that you need to eliminate. So this is my conclusion. Leadership is not simply about becoming powerful. It's about becoming strong enough to internally carry that influence without losing yourself. So build that woman before you build the platform. Build the character before you chase the title. Build your capacity before you pray for greater responsibility. Build the private life before life begins to shine the flashlight on you. Rising is not only the goal. The real goal is to rise and still be standing after the season has changed. Thank you, rising women.
Oh my gosh. Amazing and incredible. Please, let's show Reverend Dr. Frank Ofosu Appiah some love in the chat box. This was incredible and this was good. I'm not going to take much time. Please, if you have a question, please quickly raise your hand. I think this is an excellent opportunity to ask your question. I know rising women leaders, a lot of us have very intellectual and insightful questions for our instructors. So please do well to raise your hand if any of us have any question to pose to Dr. Ofosu Appiah. In the meantime, once again, Doctor, thank you so much for this well of wisdom that you have shared. I know you were speaking about your book that you wrote on the subject matter of distractions. And I have a question based on that. What are some distractions that can quietly derail a leader without them even realizing it?
You know, the subtle ones, to me, are more dangerous than the obvious ones. And sometimes it can be a good friend.
A good friend?
Yes, they can distract you from your assignment.
Elaborate, please.
Because, you know, like I'm talking about subtlety, things are subtle. You know, let's say, God forbid, I've elected myself to be your enemy. You're always going to be on your guard when I'm in your space. But what if I happen to be your very good friend? But my desires, my pursuits, and everything is anti where you are going to.
My goodness.
It might be difficult to locate. So I tell people that what you are distracted by may not be as dangerous as what you are distracted from. So just make sure that you are not distracted from your assignment. But it takes a buy to distract you from. Sometimes it's tiredness. It can distract you.
My goodness.
Some pain can distract you from your assignment. Following after latest things that can draw you away from the greatest can distract you from your assignment. Following after every new thing that comes up the freeway can distract you from your assignment. So you need focus. I think I've thrown maybe a week or two ago, I did a little 2-minute clip on focus. I did an acronym, FOCUS, and I said the F stands for first things first. The first things must be first in your life. Then the O, others second. Any other thing must come second. Then C is cut out the non-essentials. Not everything is important in this life. Then the U is you unify, your team behind your vision. And the S, whatever you do, stick to your assignment.
Love it.
I hope it helps a little bit.
It does help. I'm going to give a few of our ladies the opportunity to ask their question. Jeanette, please go ahead.
Please tell them I need easy questions.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can,
Yes,
Janet.
yes, I can hear you, Janet.
I'm going to add you.
And thank you so much, Dr. Frank. This is very, very insightful. I do appreciate a lot of the stories. I think storytelling is so important to help us understand, the pain and the experience. When you talked about that foundation of, tearing things down and building, sometimes that takes a lot of risk, which sometimes, like if you were to tear down a building, it costs a lot. Some people may have to wait a couple of years in order to build those funds and the foundation again. So I guess my question is, as a leader, how do you determine how much risk you can take in order for the foundation to be as strong? And also, in my opinion, I think foundation sometimes can grow over time. Sometimes it is weak in the beginning, but some people build from it. But again, I always think, risks, how do you determine the risk? How do you decide on that? Thank you.
That's one of the best questions I've heard in a long time about how do you determine the risk. There's no measurable amount of achievement, success, whatever in life that does not come with some risk. There's the risk factor everywhere. The safest place that a ship can be is to be in the harbor, but it doesn't discover new lands. You have to take the risk to hit the oceans, and that is how life is. So in the matter of risks come in degrees. There are some that, if this thing doesn't work, the consequences wouldn't cost me too much. But there are some too that you have no margin for error. That is where mentors, coaches, people who speak into your life must come in. Because there are some levels of risk that you may take. That is not a one-person head risk. You need an assembly of a few people around you to really look into this with zero emotions and counsel you. So I believe that the greater the risk, the slower it must be to take, and the more, not like many, but the more people you must get involved to help you make those decisions. That is how I feel about it. Janet, does it help?
Yes.
If you have a follow-on, that's fine. I can take that. But everybody must take a risk at some time. Everybody must choose a mountain to die on. That mountain is yours to choose. And you realize that, like you are saying, I've had situations like that where people have bounced things by me and I've looked at it, and even me giving counsel is a risk. Because they've done so much damage that you don't even know where they can begin from. So for me, I'm particularly grateful to God that Mommy put this together for young women. You have your life ahead of you. I consult people, I counsel people, and I've had to sit with people, and all the time I've been in pain as I listen to them because they've gone past some threshold of years. And you're wondering, how are they going to rebuild? Where do they even begin to start from? So I want to use Janet's question as an opportunity to everybody that please don't wait till it's too late. If there's anything you need to do whilst you are young, please do it. I sit here today before you, and sometimes it just dawns on me as I look at my driver's license, my ID, that, oh, I'm not young anymore. Time is flying. I'm the other side of young. But where did time go? So please, whatever you can do, don't be afraid. What is the worst that can happen? If you fail, get up again. Falling down doesn't make you a failure. Staying there does. And there are some decisions when you postpone them, it doesn't speed up the process for you.
Wow.
And I have learned, and I don't know about everybody else, that for me, there are some important decisions that I have delayed making. And the longer I delayed, the harder it became for me to do. Have people in your life, have sounding boards in your life. It's one of the things I teach, but having sounding boards in your life, people who can speak into your life and guide you, people who have been there. Because the safest way to walk through or to go through a game park is to follow the game warden. They know it. They've been there. They know the dangers. They know the paths, and they can counsel you. So that's the end of my long talk, Janet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the question, Janet. We have another question from Lisa.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frank, for your what you shared. It was amazing. I took a lot of notes and we'll definitely go over them. So earlier when you were speaking to Mami, I noticed you mentioned that you realized that you had the leadership qualities to begin with growing up. So my question is, when you spoke about foundation, for somebody who doesn't have those leadership qualities to begin with, they don't have them like growing up, how do you even build a foundation, especially as someone in your 30s trying to start over to become a leader? How do you even build a foundation to be somebody that other persons can look up to without, being questioned and being able to influence them? So how do you build a foundation?
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. That's another very valid question. One of the, normally when I'm teaching seminars and things like in person, I do some little exercises, and occasionally I'll ask people to write down the name. In fact, last Saturday I did one in Maryland, that write down the name of 5 leaders that you know. Write it on a piece of paper, 5 great leaders. And people write all kinds of great leaders, and I let people talk. And in the end, I'm almost always, unless maybe there's a next seminar that you are in that you spoil my fun. But I tell people that my greatest problem with people is that they didn't put their own names down as leaders. Lisa, every human being born into this world came with some leadership on the inside of them. It might not be in the limelight, it might be in the background, but there's still leadership. Everybody touches somebody, a lot of somebodies before they depart. There's a leader on every human being's inside crying out for expression. One of the greatest blessings is to meet somebody like Mami who put these things together to bring out the leader on the inside of you. So that is what we must spend our time letting people know, that everybody has leadership on the inside of them. Not the limelight, not the microphone, like I said, not the flyer, not whatever, but there's something on the inside of you that will affect somebody's outlook, somebody's outcome, and somebody's direction in life. It's sitting on the inside of you. You are too loaded, looking for expression. Does it help, Lisa?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Thank you,
Lisa.
Please bring out the leader. We can't wait to meet that leader on the inside of you.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Thank you so much. Okay. And we have Laurentia as well. Please, we're going to take about 2 more and then that's it. We want to be very respectful of the time. Laurentia, please go ahead.
Yeah, Mami, thank you so much for this opportunity. Start with my question, I just want to follow up with what Papa said with how we easily get distracted. One thing that I've realized about many leaders are the spirit. I don't want to use too religious. I just want to say familiarity. A lot of leaders have become so familiarity. The people that we are supposed to learn from them, we are making familiarity take everything away from us. So as a leader, we must be very careful of that so that we don't be distracted with our foundation, or we have to read the room when it comes to that. And pertaining to my question, Reverend, just to chip in this, we being a Christian, I always say this, every leader and every Christian, we always need breakthrough, but we don't like pass through. We need breakthrough, but we don't like pass through. That's how it really happens to be leaders. As a leader, we are going to pass through the lows, ups, and everything. You just can't rise up one day to be like you are becoming a very good leader. You have to pass through so that one day when you are standing on the podium talking about how you were able to come up, someone will be like, oh, this lady has been able to do it. Mommy has been able to do it, and I'm going to do it too. So you being a pastor, one thing that we, the youth, I've realized about us is we have this notion that anything we talk to our pastor, he used to go and preach. So you being a man of God and being a life coach in leadership, how do you balance the two so that ideology don't really affect you when it comes to it? Thank you.
Thank you so much for this. I happen to be a pastor to pastors. I coach pastors and I lead pastors. I model pastors. And you've just mentioned one of the things that give me pain. And that is, I told him or her something and they've used it to preach. So it's one of the things I tell. There's always a danger. Sometimes it's got nothing to do with you, but somehow you feel it's you. So I even teach people on how to listen to a message without getting offended. The thing about it is this. I sit here right now, Ofosu Appiah. People, Mommy said he's a gift. I'm not a gift. I am a result of the process that life and God has taken me through. You can never give what you don't have. To try to do that is like trying to return from a place you didn't go to. You will be processed. You have to go through things. In fact, you have to go through to go to. Other than that, your words may be flowery, may be proficient, may be bombastic, may be everything, but it lacks a certain kind of power that backs it. Show me a man, show me a woman who has been through the fire, and I'll show you a man, and I'll show you a woman who carries authority. Don't waste the fires that you go through. Don't waste the things that you go through. Interestingly, you cannot walk to your local grocery store and ask, sir, what aisle can I go to find 10 years of experience to buy? You can't buy it. They'll look at you like you lost your mind. You don't buy experience. You go through the thing for it to become your experience. The only thing is that your attitude towards what is happening is what is important. Because the problem is not the problem. Your attitude towards the problem is the problem, maybe the problem. So you've got to understand at this young age that there are a lot of things that may happen to you that is not for your now, but for your future. How do you process it? How do you handle the pain, the disappointment? There's somebody using you to preach and that kind of thing. It makes you think. Mommy asked me, Mommy sent me a couple of things to look, some pointers to look at. And there was something, and I was praying, she wouldn't ask me, and she heard my prayers. But maybe what are some of the, growing up as a young guy, I look back sometimes. It doesn't grieve me because everybody has remembrance. Forgiveness doesn't mean if you raised, if you remember, it doesn't grieve you, I don't care. And it's at point I confided in the wrong people. I thought they were mentors. Then I discovered they were tormentors. And it happens in our life. Everybody has somebody like that. Are you going to be bitter or are you going to be better? It's your experience. You learn. You learn it once and let it stick. Because when a cat jumps on a hot stove, it learns 2 lessons. Lesson number 1, don't jump on a hot stove. Lesson number 2, don't jump on a stove at all, because you don't know whether it's hot or cold. These are lessons we pick as we go along. Because sometimes if you allow history to repeat itself, it charges you a higher price. Ooh. There's no lesson to learn in the second kick of a horse. The first one is enough. I hope
Amazing.
it's okay, Laurentia. But
I'm sure.
forgive us who used you to preach. Don't forget this one thing too. I mean, you brought this, spiritual church thing.
Not the one. My friends are the ones always complaining
Yeah,
to
not
me
you.
because I'm
Yeah.
close to the pastors that
Yeah,
you
I
guys,
understand.
yeah.
I was going to say something. Oh no, I forgot. I just lost the train of thought. That don't also forget that pastors come in different levels and phases of maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's gift says nothing about them. It's your character that says everything about you.
Absolutely.
Because if let's say I was a millionaire and I gave you $100,000, what does it say about you? Nothing. It says everything about me. In the same way, the fact that somebody stands behind a pulpit of my house doesn't say anything about the person. It's a gift. It's the character, like I said, that matters. And you can have people who are young ones, but immature indefinitely. And they still carry a gift. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laurentia. Then we have our final two questions. Kendra. Kendra is actually one of our youngest rising women leaders within this program. I believe, Kendra, what year are you in university?
I'm in my third year.
Third year university. So
Third year.
Kendra, please ask your question.
Okay, I'm gonna try and make this like as quick as possible, but thank you so much for the session and sharing your perspective with us. I've been a leader within my own church for quite some time, and something I've become like increasingly aware of is that many Christian leadership spaces are still predominantly male. So, from both your perspective as a man and as a Christian leader, what do you think men sometimes misunderstand about the barriers women experience when stepping into or growing within leadership spaces? And what responsibility do you think male leaders have in ensuring that women aren't simply encouraged to lead, but are actually given the space, trust, and opportunities to exercise that leadership?
Oh, thank you. What an amazing question. Kendra, thank you. When you started asking the question, I was scared because, the Gen Zs and the Xs, they really can ask you pointed questions that will make you squirm in your seat. But thank you so much. What you've said is absolutely right. Remember at the beginning of my introduction, I talked about the fact that historically and whatever, we've been a male-dominated society. And in fact, this is between me and rising ladies. Have you realized that a lot of the rules and regulations in the Bible, in churches and things are against women? And it's because men wrote them. Don't tell them. Men wrote it. Men wrote all these things, and it's unfortunate. But if we took off our denominational sunglasses and we looked into the Bible, well, we realize that, especially in the New Testament, most of the miracles that Jesus did, he did on women. He ministered to women more than men. He was telling us something. He was hinting us about something that he came to liberate. That's why I said that in any society that women are put down, whether it's church, nation, whatever, there's no progress. So, for example, let me use my space as an example where I am. I've been very, very, very intentional in not tokenism, but merit. That women merit and women do things. And in the space that I lead, we have women everywhere in every level of ministry doing things. And I empower them. Sometimes the men want to kill me, but I empower them. I let them understand that it's not a matter of gender. It's a matter of what the person carries. One time I came out and I said, what exactly is the point? That we think women are only anointed to teach the children Sunday school, but they cannot teach here. So what's the difference? What exactly is the difference? That you're anointed to teach the children, but you're not anointed to teach adults. It's a male-dominated thing, and I believe that gradually we are making inroads. Gradually we are making inroads. And again, like I said, if you do the research when COVID-19 came, nations that were led by women, they did far better than the men. And don't tell the men about that. So, Kendra, go lead.
Yeah.
Lead with confidence. Lead with grace. Lead with the Spirit of God. Lead without fear. I can't wait to meet Kendra one day. Maybe not personally, but out there and say, that is the woman who asked that question the other day. Don't let anybody look down on you because you are young and because you're a female.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you.
Isn't it amazing that when God wanted to bring redemption to the world,
He used women.
he put everything in the womb of a young girl. I shudder to think what would have happened if he gave it to men. She'll still be sitting somewhere. Anyway, never mind. Please forgive me. Don't tell the men. They'll come after me.
Thank you very much. And then a very important question that someone secretly asked in the chat box. And this is our final question. She said, how can women leaders balance love and leadership whilst avoiding partners or friends who may distract them from their purpose or take advantage of their influence?
I'm going to ask you, Mommy, to read the question again for me.
Yes.
Please.
So I believe in summary, how can women leaders balance love and leadership whilst avoiding partners who may distract them from their purpose?
So love as in marriage or dating, or
I believe so, in the era's romantic way.
it can be a challenge and it can be a blessing depending on where that love is found. Because I believe that whatever it is, men must be secure enough to allow women to shine in their space. A great leader in the Bible is Deborah. She is married to Lapidoth, who happens to be a candle maker. Never heard of his business, but we heard of Deborah. Priscilla and Aquila. In those days, the prominent one is mentioned first. She was great. And we have several all over the place. So I tell people, especially when you are not yet married, you really have to give a lot of thought and prayer to that. Because sometimes when we are dating, we tend to make mistakes. We open our hearts, then we close our minds. And we don't see the red flags, especially when you know you carry something, ministry, whatever. You must be strategic, because love alone is not enough. There's going to be a lot of days that you're going to wake up and you don't even feel in love. What you going to do? You're going to think about that. So that is why I tell people dating is very important, but we mismanage what dating is. Dating comes from the etymological root data. That's where we get data. Comes from dating, from data, information, where you find out whether the person is saved, whether they are sane, whether they are stable, whether they are secure, whether they are sexy. All of these things come together. Other than that, say, oh, I'm in love. What when you fall out of love? What you going to do? So you got to give thought, careful thought. And again, you need trusted people in your life. Because sometimes you could be making a mistake. Everybody around you knows you are making a mistake except you, because you are in love. So you need trusted people in your life to guide you and to help you. Love alone is not enough. I hope it helps.
It helps so much. Now, this is my personal final question for you. This is for me personally.
I hear you,
Every
Mommy.
leader that comes or I meet, I ask them one question. What is a crucible moment in your life that changed the trajectory of your leadership journey? What is one thing that happened to you that just changed, or an event, something that changed the trajectory of your life, and what lesson did you take out of it?
Wow. One thing that changed the trajectory of my life. You know, every leader must have people in their space. Because I believe you don't go as far as your dream. You go as far as your team. The day you discover that one you have trusted with everything within you was the one doing you in. It's a wake-up day. And I was presented with 2 cups. Bitter or better? Which one would you choose? God was merciful to me. I chose better. And I didn't become bitter. So it helped me to understand that anyone around me potentially can let me down, can betray me, can walk away from me and things. But I should be magnanimous enough to understand that some people come, some people go. Give everybody a chance. It has helped me not to become a bitter. As I said, I can confidently, boldly say before my rising ladies, I have no pin, no bone of bitterness on the inside of me. Hold nothing against nobody, because I learned through those experiences. But the day is going to come that you are going to wake up and say, wow, did they do that? Yes, they did. What are you going to do about it? Bitter or better? The choice, mommy, will be yours to make. And that will define your leadership and how you deal with people. People are very good, and people can be very bad. You didn't make them. Choose them.
Thank you so much. Please, ladies, let's give a thundering round of applause to Dr. Frank Ofosu Appiah. This
Thank you,
has
ladies.
been
Thank you, ladies.
amazing. It has been so good. I feel as if we can shut down the whole 10 weeks. We're done with the program. We don't need anything else. But this has been amazing. On behalf of the Power of Love team and all the ladies from the depth of our hearts, once again, Dr. Frank, we say thank you so much for pouring into us today. You have
Thank you.
planted a seed that is going to grow for years to come. And as you said, you left me with a takeaway message of who's next. And I think with over 40 women here, we all know that we are next and we are the next leaders. We are the next people that are going to change the world. And I just wanted to give a special shout out to Dr. Ofosu Appiah's wife, who is here. Everyone say, "Aw." She's here, Mrs. Mary. Thank you so much for allowing your husband to spend time with us this evening and to pour into us. We really appreciate you and the family. Dr. Frank, may God richly bless you. We love you so much.
Thank you.
Just know
Thank you,
that
everybody. Thank
many
you.
women in Canada are backing you.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
God
God
bless you.
bless you.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
good
much.
evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Sure. Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful
Wait,
evening.
sorry,
Bye-bye.
the selfie.
Oh, we did want to take a selfie with you.
Oh, sure.
Yes. Thank you. So I'm gonna remove myself from the spotlight. And
So
please,
what do we
ladies,
do?
shift adjust the wigs, put the smiles. And Nana, I'm gonna have you take it for us. Okay. First we're gonna take one, take about 3. Does the structure, how does it look at your end? We're going to take a speaker and then we're gonna take a gallery and then dynamic gallery.
Okay, on my end, it's showing Dr. Frank
It's okay.
just as the spotlight. So
Let me do it.
Okay.
So can we remove the spotlight then?
No,
Or
it's
is it
fine.
from
It's
there?
good. Yes,
Okay.
we're gonna take you with the spotlight first and then okay. We're going to take just a few in 3, 2. Maybe I'm saying 3, 2, 1. I can't even find where to. Please give me a quick second here. All right. Okay, awesome. In 3, 2, 1, nice smiles. Awesome. 1 second. And then we're going to take one more. As we need to take advantage of this, frame it in your bedroom. We're gonna just take one more and then we're good to go. Let me just save it right here. Okay. Then we're going to take another gallery.
Sorry, mommy, your
you.
voice is a bit faint. So we
Sorry,
can.
because my microphone is on the side.
Oh, okay.
Yes, please. Thank you. I'm just saying we're going to take just a few more and then we're good. Okay. All right. Are we ready? Okay. Thank you, ladies. 3, 2, 1. All right. And then we're going to take
Thank you.
the last slide.
One more.
Just one last one, doctor. I want to make sure that everyone is in so that the ladies don't come for me. All right. One last one. Big smiles. 3, 2, 1. Great. Thank you so much. God
Thank
bless you.
you.
Thank you. Have a very wonderful evening, doctor. Thank you so
Good
much.
evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Priscilla, for that reminder. I would have definitely forgotten, but thank
Yeah,
you.
it's still faint, so go back on your mic.
I was saying thank you for the reminder. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
maybe we're actually almost done. It's
Done. Yeah, I don't do it.
7:45. So what we're going to do at this point is that we're just going to go to our breakout rooms and just go and chit chat on what we learned from today, and then we can come back in 10 minutes, and then we leave. Okay. Thank you all so much.
They're still live on YouTube. So.
I'm still live. I'm gonna stop. Yeah, so Nanaya, if we could please